Hey guys, Adam here with a War Thunder specific technical video. In this video, we shall investigate how stock aircraft compare to fully spaded aircraft and which piston engine aircraft has the worst stock grind. Without further ado, let's dig right into it. First off, what do the terms stock and spaded mean? I often get this question in the comments and someone had to explain it to me when I first started playing as well. It's not intuitive. A stock aircraft is an aircraft that has none of the performance-enhancing modifications researched and installed, while a spaded aircraft is one that has all the modifications installed. I guess the term spaded came from the spade that is on the background on fully upgraded aircraft. Anyway, let's get into the meat of the topic. After gauging models and aircraft to meet the performance indicated in their
secret documents,
they then decide how much each modification reduces the performance of the aircraft. This is the modifications window for the BF-109K4. If we hover over the fuselage repair modification, you can see how that mod affects the aircraft coefficients in the flight model. For example, the fuselage repair mod reduces the fuselage drag coefficient by 5.21%, which means that a stock K4 has a fuselage drag coefficient 5.21% higher than a spaded K4, which reduces speed. Every modification will affect different parts of the aircraft. A good rule to follow for the modification research order is to research the engine modifications first. They may affect top speed less than drag reducing modifications like wing repair, but engine power is more important at low and medium speeds, which is the speed range you spend the most time in. One more tidbit of information regarding wing repair: I'm 99% sure that the 0.045% increase in the lift efficiency coefficient is actually wrong. 0.045% is a very small change and would not result in such a big difference in turn time. What they probably did is just a 0.045 increase in the coefficient, and the percent symbol slipped in by mistake on the modifications window. Alright, now let's compare stock versus spaded performance to find the worst stock grind. By worst stock grind, I mean the biggest difference between stock and spaded performance. I identified two aircraft, the Seafire FR-47 and the BF-109K4, that have been the worst stock grinds for me. Let's see how the stock version compares to the spaded version in speed, climb, and turn performance. All tests were conducted with the best mech settings, so 0% radiators. Let's start with the speed category. The graph on the left is the top speed as a function of altitude graph for the Seafire. The blue curve is the spaded Seafire and the red dashed curve is the stock Seafire. The spaded Seafire, which can be considered a fast aircraft, is 80 km per hour or 13% faster compared to when it's stock. A stock Seafire has the top speed of a slow plane for its BR. 13% might not sound like much, but a stock Seafire can be cut by aircraft it would easily outrun when spaded. Let's see how the K4 fares in terms of speed. Again, the same color and line nomenclature is used for the spaded and stock versions of the K4. The spaded K4 is 60 km per hour or 10% faster than the stock K4. This is still a big speed difference, but the Seafire is worse and hence wins the speed category. As you can see, the stock curves follow the trend of the spaded curves when it comes to speed as a function of altitude, which means that a stock aircraft isn't worse at altitude compared to sea level. Next up is the climb comparison. Climb rates were tested at 1, 4, and 7 kilometers of altitude. The graph on the left is the climb rate as a function of altitude for the Seafire. The Seafire climbs a whopping 49% better when spaded compared to when stock. While the spaded Seafire has average climb for the BR, a stock Seafire would compete for one of the worst climb rates in its BR range. Meanwhile, the spaded K4 climbs 27% better than the stock K4. That's still a big change, but the Seafire clearly wins at having the biggest difference between stock and spaded climb rates. Last but not least is turn performance differences. The graph on the left shows the turn radius for the stock and spaded Seafire. The turn becomes 5% tighter when the aircraft is spaded, which is a fairly small change in turn radius. However, when we compare the turn times, the spaded Seafire has a 15% better turn time than the stock Seafire. The reason why there's a bigger difference in turn time when compared to turn radius is that only the mass reduction mods affect turn radius, while turn time is affected by power, drag, and mass reduction mods. The K4 turn radius graph shows a 3% tighter turn, as well as an 11% improvement in turn time for the Spaded K4 compared to the stock K4. Once again, the Seafire wins the turn category by having the biggest difference between stock and Spaded performance. In conclusion, the Seafire 47 has the worst stock grind since it has the biggest stock versus Spaded performance difference in speed, climb, and turn. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst stock grind, 10 being the best stock grind, and 5 being average, the Seafire 47 would be a 1 and the BF19K4 would be a 3. As a general rule, the higher the BR, the worse the stock grind. So, the planes that have good stock grinds would be tiers 1 and 2, while aircraft with bad stock grinds will be mostly in tiers 3 and 4. Another general rule is that aircraft which specialize in speed or climb have a harder stock grind compared to the turny boys. That concludes the video. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments what kind of educational videos you'd like to see in the future. Sayonara.